The first installment of the Immunus Showdown mod just dropped today, and this was created by PooterStapot, where basically he takes the Friday Night Funkin' universe and crosses it with his own passion project, which is called Immortal Specimen. Now, I say that this is the first installment because apparently it's supposed to have over 4 weeks with a bunch of new mechanics and songs that come with it. In this video, I want to talk about the story as we know it so far, and also some of the characters that have yet to be introduced. The first character that we need to talk about is going to be Samey. This is the person that we're introduced in the beginning of this mod, and Samey is basically a distressed specimen known as Immunus, and he's a creature of pure absolute destruction. The weird thing about this character though is that he spends most of his time just wandering around and talking to himself. And it seems the reason for this is that Samey suffers from great anxiety, and this is something that's common among the type of Immunus that he is, which is a bandit. And it kind of makes sense when you look into his history. Basically, bandits are known to be sad, they're known to live miserable lives and wander around talking to themselves. Samey is a little bit different because unlike his brethren, he doesn't really want to cause any destruction, but at the same time, he doesn't feel like he has a goal or a mission in life. So he falls into these pits of depression. Now, back in the day when Samey was a 10-year-old bandit, he met another Immunus who is nameless at this point, who kind of went out of his way to make Samey feel better and to have somebody there to kind of care about him. Samey and this person that we'll just call Nameless would do everything together, and eventually, they even went to Earth together, which explains why Samey is on Earth in the present time. When they arrived on Earth, one of the first things that they heard was this beautiful music, and of course they had to go investigate it. The two ended up coming upon this huge tent, which we later learn is actually a circus, and the people that are singing inside is actually a performance troupe. Nameless was completely taken with these performers, and he wanted him and Samey to actually learn how to sing and join this circus so that they could have this type of joy in their life as well. The bond between Nameless and Samey grew deeper initially, but this would actually be the start of Samey's downfall. The downfall basically comes when Nameless starts to get obsessed with the circus, and he's bringing on more and more performers over time. He's basically doing this because he's trying to increase his status and increase the prestige of the circus in general. It even gets to the point where he has to replace Samey because he thinks he has somebody that can do a better job. And this completely leaves Samey heartbroken and just broken in spirit. In a case that doesn't really make sense to you, imagine meeting somebody when you're 10 and been friends with them all the way until you're 54, and then they drop you for some random person. And in case I'm not being clear, Samey and Nameless have been friends for 44 years, and Nameless just simply drops him for some strangers, basically. Now, Samey's in this position where he still doesn't want to cause destruction or hurt people, but he's under so much stress, depression, and anxiety that when people do approach him, he snaps out on them. And we actually see an example of this when Boyfriend comes up to him to rap battle. Initially, Samey is okay with this because it seems like he believes that Boyfriend is actually Nameless, which is why he seems surprised that he would want to actually have a rap battle with him. But once he realizes that Boyfriend is not Nameless, he actually starts to get very irritated and tells him to leave. When Boyfriend refuses to do so, that's when Samey kind of goes ballistic and it looks like everything gets destroyed. And many of you probably noticed that in the beginning of the mod, Girlfriend is there right at Boyfriend's side as usual, but after Samey actually has this little freak out, Girlfriend is suddenly gone. I doubt that she gets destroyed because this is only week 1, but it definitely is a possibility. Now, I do want to point out too that the only reason Boyfriend and Girlfriend are in this situation is because ultimately they're trying to avoid Daddy Dearest and just having their weekend interrupted as usual. So them stumbling upon Samey is more like coincidence than anything, and to imagine Girlfriend getting destroyed because of an accident would just be heartbreaking. Some interesting facts about Samey is that technically he has 7 eyes in total, and even though he wears that bandana over his eyes, he technically can see, he just doesn't want to take that off. A weird quirk that Samey has as well is that he often believes that other people's voices are his own thoughts, and those other voices are the only thing that makes him feel sane. Now, there are 3 other characters that may be making an appearance in the later weeks, and the first one is going to be Rambi. And Rambi is this humanoid creature that considers himself to be a nobody, and this basically is his way of indicating that he doesn't belong to any specific type of species or race. I don't know if this implies that he's the last of his race, but when you look at his personality, it basically says that he doesn't like to be involved in any sort of violence, but he will fight in order to protect what he has left in life. So that could mean that he's lost like family or something precious to him, which may be why he feels like he's the last of his kind or a nobody. The next on our list is going to be Lurks, and he's another Immunus, but this one's a bit different than Samey because he roams around places like forests or swamps, and he basically is doing that in order to hunt different types of animals and prey in general. Now, the reason that he's out here hunting is because he has a condition where he's basically always hungry. No matter how much he eats, he's always going to have this hunger. So in reality, it's like he's living a life of torture. What's kind of creepy about this guy too is that when he's actually chasing down his victims, he has this look of just absolute joy on his face because he finally gets to consume something. And to make matters worse, he was born with only a head and these 2 floating hands. He is definitely the weirdest character on this list. The last character that we're going to talk about is going to be Sal, and funny enough, she's the cutest and the most normal looking character on this list, but even she has a dark side to her. Her quirk is that she really loves shiny or sweet looking things, so when she meets people, she seems to be happy and friendly and she wants to actually get to know them, but in reality, all she's trying to do is see if they have something sweet, and if they do, she'll capture them and basically force them to make whatever sweet thing they were holding at the time. And this is mostly due to the fact that she's not smart enough to understand that just because a person may have candy on them doesn't mean that they can actually make candy. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out this video where I fully explain the Indie Cross mod, or check out this video where I explain the Sync Sonic mod. Thanks for watching. This is Orseofkorse. We'll see you next time. Peace.